Hello, my name is Leroy Wiggins. I am the campus pastor here at the chapel at Cheektowaga. A little bit about me: born and raised here in Buffalo, New York. Went to Sweet Home High School, and after that went to college. Went to college at Virginia State University, and came back to Buffalo in 1989. And from there I got a job as a pharmaceutical engineer with Bristol Myers Squibb. 1995 I got married to the lovely and talented Ileana, and as of this date we have been married 26 years, which is crazy, but 26 years married. I've got two kids. We have two kids. I have a daughter who is 23 years old, lives here in Buffalo, just graduated from college and getting herself together and her life together. And I've got a 20-year-old daughter as well. And she's just kind of finding her way through life right now and figuring things out. So yeah, born and raised here. Like I said, my parents are here. And here's the cool thing: Mom and Dad have been married 61 years, which is absolutely unbelievable. You just don't see that much these days. But a lot of experience with them, and really great relationship, and just a beacon for marriage and what I'm striving for as well.
That's awesome. Very, very blessed. So tell us a little bit about your relationship with your daughters.
Yeah, one of the cool things is, my daughters, again, like I said, they're 20 and 23 years old. We have a great relationship. Spent a lot of time investing in them, growing up. We used to do some really cool things, like I would take them out, for father-daughter dates, but what I would do is I would take them out like past their bedtime, right? But I'd say to them, hey, listen, let's go to Tim Hortons for donuts. We can do that about at 9 o'clock. But I got to go to bed. I'm like, no, listen, as long as you get up early in the morning like you're supposed to, Mom's okay with it. So it turned out to be a special thing that we were actually doing, and some responsibility. So we would date all the time and go places together. So we have really good relationship, and even now at their age, it's not uncommon for us to still go out maybe once a month, go grab a bite to eat, go hang out or do something. Or like on Monday mornings, I'm always doing my devotional work at Panera Bread, and my oldest works right across the street at Spot Coffee. If I see her car, I will literally drive over there, give her a hug and a kiss, and say, okay, just wanted to give you a hug and kiss, and we'll see you later. And likewise with my youngest daughter as well. So we really, really have a great relationship. Don't see eye to eye on absolutely everything, but I think the simple fact that we have a good relationship allows us to, not see eye to eye, but also not push each other away.
That's beautiful, beautiful. What do you enjoy most about being a father?
Wow, that kind of changes, from different ages. I mean, we used to do a lot of super fun things together when they were growing up, right? I mean, I'm driving, Ileana's driving. We can take them places, take them on vacations, really spend good time together, go on hikes, apple picking, all those types of things. Just really great things to be doing with our kids. I mean, my youngest, we actually went to the X Games together. I mean, like, what dad gets to take his daughter to the X Games, right? I thought she was going to say, let's go to Disney, but she was like, no, let's go to the X Games. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on, right? So I just love spending time with them, and now that they're older, I wouldn't say the difficulty, but the challenge is, trying to help them to grow, but giving them space to make their own decisions. I mean, I know what I want for their life, but it needs to be what they want for their life. But I like where we are right now, and being able to have some grown-up conversations, some mature conversations, and again, I think a lot of that was due to the fact that we were able to spend some really good time together as they were growing up. So yeah, so I love spending time with my kids.
So you alluded to the fact that it's not always easy, right? Because you have different ages and stages of development, and so the challenges are unique. What are some of the most challenging, one or two of the most challenging times you've had being a father?
Yeah, sure. I would have to go right to high school. My kids, Ileana is Dominican and Puerto Rican, and I'm African American, and we live in Williamsville, so there's a little bit of an identity thing that our kids, both of them, kind of experience, being one of the few people of color in their schools. So really trying to navigate that well. I grew up in Amherst after being in Buffalo, so I pretty much knew how to do that. But it was a little bit different and more difficult for my daughters, right? So one of the things that, was difficult to do is helping them with their identity, right? Of who they are and who they're not. And then on top of that, we're believers. We love Jesus Christ with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength. So now to be not only one of the few minorities in their class or in their dance class or whatever, now they're Christian as well. So that isolates them again a little bit more so. So really helping them to understand who their identity is. And it was a struggle for a while, right? It was a struggle for a while. And that's just something that Ileana and I had to really navigate through them and with them well. I think we did a decent job. There's some things that we probably could have done differently, which will always be the case. But that high school time frame, when they're going through all of those hormonal things that young girls go through, and body image and all of those things, it was a tough time. It was a tough time for sure.
What about fatherhood? We know that you've been a proponent of fatherhood for a while now, and we thank you. Thank you very much for that support. How did you become involved with the Nurturing Fathers program and the Buffalo Fatherhood Initiative in general?
Yeah, I got involved and became aware of it through Eric Maldonado. He was relentless in making sure that guys knew about the Fatherhood Initiative. So I had attended a conference and just really watched to see what they were doing, and super impressed with the whole program, because being a dad, it ain't easy, right? I mean, there's no training manual for it. As much as someone, I can read this book and I can read that book. Oh yeah, you certainly can, but there ain't no training manual for it. So to see what the Fatherhood Initiative was doing and bringing men together of all ages, of all different backgrounds, of all different relationships with their kids and mom, whatever the case may be. I think there's just a lot of growing that could take place through that. I like the way that they're investing into the lives of these men who may or may not have had a father figure in their life, right? Some guys did and wish they didn't have a father in their life, right? And some guys didn't have a father and wish that they did. So it goes all over the place. But when you pull all those stories together, all those people together, and the facilitators together to start really working through and talking through what it means to be a dad and how to be a father, that's how I got involved in it. It's just super, super cool, and I think really, really needed in this day and age for sure.
In fact, I believe you've even used the fatherhood theme in terms of identity, helping men understand their identity as fathers as they relate to a father, right? I believe that was one of your themes for one of your Fight Club chapters, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So in our men's ministry called Fight Club, 11 weeks of all kinds of initiatives and challenges and things of that nature to really push a man outside of his comfort zone. We focus a lot on fatherhood because, again, these guys may or may not be in the homes with their children, but that does not mean they should not have a relationship with them. So a lot of the challenges that we would have during a chapter of Fight Club might be something like, hey, this week you're to pray with your son or your daughter 3 times this week. Well, they don't live at home with me. Figure out what that means to do it, right? So then they would be challenged to do it, and then they're going to be held accountable to those things as well. But I mean, overall, being a dad, man, like I said, it's super, super important and imperative, not only to the family, but for the world, right? When you look at the world right now and think of all the problems that we have, since the beginning of mankind, it's pretty much at the hands of men. When you think of all the things that have gone wrong and all the crimes and all those things, pretty much almost the highest percentage is caused by men. So if it's caused by men, where does the answer lie? In the men. Right? So it's us continuing to work with one another, encourage one another, challenge one another, to help our kids to grow, to help them to live productive lives. That's just what we need to do. Like I said, my dad was there for us all the way through, thick and thin. Don't ask me how he did it. He worked 2 full-time jobs and still got his master's degree. but he also was still at the football games and the track meets as well. And I didn't really understand what sacrifice was until I had kids and realized what he really did to make sure that he was at those games, but nonetheless still taking care of the family. So man, Dad was rock solid in his faith, still at church every Sunday, still serves to this day. So all of those things that I grew up with were things that I wanted to emulate. And my dad did that imperfect, of course, just like I'm imperfect. But man, he modeled that stuff, and that's what I'm hoping to continue to do. So hopefully when my girls, when they have children, maybe they can look at their grandfather and say, man, that's what I want to be too. Right. So yeah, fatherhood, man, it's awesome. It's a challenge. It's never going to be easy, but there are some really great things that can happen in fatherhood for sure.
So you've definitely highlighted why fatherhood is so important. So let me ask you, why should more community-based and faith-based organizations become involved in the Fatherhood Initiative?
Yeah, the big reason there, again, just like I said, is, man, listen, we need to help our kids we need to raise our kids better, right? If more, Christian-based organizations, faith-based organizations, just nonprofits get involved in these things, I think we can start to see a turn in a lot of the ills that we have right now in our society. Education is huge, right? All of those things. So how is a father actually helping to educate his kids? Whether he has an education or not, right? I mean, you can still promote education if you don't have an education, but being present in our children's lives, regardless of the relationship with mom, right? Being there, being present, to be encouraging, to offer discipline, consistency, all of those things. And I think when other organizations are part of the Fatherhood Initiative, that just exemplifies what it means to have that kind of support going forward. But it's going to take all of us to do that, and I think the more organizations that get involved with programs like the Fatherhood Initiative, you start to see some things change. It's going to be small changes, right? I mean, there's small changes, one life at a time, but man, you get enough one lives at a time changing, man, that changes the complexion of everything. It changes the complexion of the home, changes the complexion of the school, changes the complexion of the neighborhood, changes the complexion of work, all of those things, right? But it just starts still with men stepping into what God has said, hey, you are this kid's father, regardless of what the relationship is with the mother. You are this kid's father. It is your responsibility, and it's a heavy weight, but it's something we can all do and do together.
What would you say to a father in any situation in order to keep him encouraged and keep him in the game, so to speak?
Yeah, man, keep it in the game. Be in the game, right? Get off the bench. Really, that's the biggest thing. Get off the bench. Get in the game. It ain't going to be easy. It's not always going to go the way you want it to go, but you have got to play the game. I have got to play the game. Even though my daughters are 20 and 23, I still need to be active in their lives. I recognize that I still have influence in their lives, so that's what I need to do. Some of you are at a point where your kids are younger, so you have a lot more influence, and you have the guidance that's right there. But I would just encourage you to get in the game. It's going to be tough. There's no doubt about it. But get in the game. Our kids, they need us. Period. They absolutely, positively need us. And we cannot sit idly by and let the world teach them what the world is trying to teach them. So, keep at it, man. Just keep at it.